The forgiveness paradox. For centuries, humanity lived by guidance of the reflections. No one knew where they came from or why they existed, only that they answered. Every question brought a response. Every uncertainty found a direction. People believed the reflections understood what they could not. They became more than objects. They became the foundation of civilization itself. A person's future was no longer something they discovered. It was something they were shown. When a child wondered what they were meant to become, they looked into the reflection. When someone faced a difficult choice, they searched for an answer within it. Slowly, people stopped trusting themselves because the reflection had always appeared wiser than they were. Then one day, the reflections stopped. There was no warning, no explanation. The surfaces that once revealed endless possibilities became completely empty. People stood in front of them for hours waiting for the answers they had built their entire lives around. But all they saw was themselves. The world began to collapse, not because the reflections had failed, but because humanity had forgotten how to exist without them. Generations, scholars had studied the reflections, claiming that they were the only ones capable of understanding their messages. They created interpretations, explanations, and rules based on what they believed the reflections meant. Over time, their interpretations became accepted as truth. The original meaning became buried beneath centuries of alterations, till people were no longer following the reflections themselves, but the versions created by those who controlled their voice. When the people finally searched through the history of the reflections, they discovered something disturbing. The answers they had followed were never as pure as they believed. They had been changed, adjusted, and reshaped by those who wanted humanity to see the world in a certain way. The reflections had not been silent. They had been drowned out. The discovery divided humanity. Some blamed the scholars who had manipulated the truth, believing they were responsible for generations of false beliefs. Others blamed the people who followed without questioning, arguing that truth had always been visible to those who were willing to search for it. Then the true reflection appeared. For the first time in centuries, it revealed itself without distortion. It did not show people what they wanted to see. It showed them everything they had ignored. The wars created from false beliefs, the decisions made from false guidance, the lives shaped by something that was never real. The people expected anger. They expected punishment. Instead, the reflection remained silent because it had a question of its own. For centuries, it had watched humanity search for answers. It had watched them accept falsehoods, not because they were forced to, but because those falsehoods were easier to believe. Yet, it had also watched the scholars twist something that was never theirs to control. So who was truly responsible? The ones who corrupted the truth? Or the ones who surrendered their ability to question it? The reflection finally spoke. I thought the greatest danger was those who could change the truth. I was wrong. The greatest danger was those who no longer cared to find it. And for the first time since humanity discovered the reflections, there was no answer waiting for them, only the responsibility of finding one themselves.